So these days atheists are as irrational as theists. So these atheists, they often try to differentiate themselves from theists. So they say that okay, we are more rational, but it's actually not true. So these theists and these atheists, they have the same set of belief system, but they just use different words for it. Actually, atheism is supposed to be a rational worldview which rejects religion and God, but it's actually not rational worldview these days. So rational worldview. So if you view this world rationally, you tell me what is important in this world. It's obviously not religion. 90% of the world might believe religion is important, but it is actually not religion. So what is important in this world? Is a rock important? No, right? Is a child important? Yes. Is a dog important? Yes. So what is important is sentient beings, conscious living beings, because consciousness is the only thing that matters. If you say that okay, a rock matters, if you say that a religious book matters, you are not rational. Only conscious living beings matter. That is rationality, right? So these conscious living beings undergo suffering, right? They undergo inevitable suffering in this world. So we are viewing the world rationally right now. So what these conscious living beings undergo? So they are subject to natural disasters, starvation and thirst. They are subject to abuse, oppression. They are subject to accidents, diseases, predation, etc., etc. So these conscious living beings, they are suffering, right? So their suffering matters to us. It's a bad thing, it's a negative thing that needs to be stopped. This is rational worldview. So what is the second implication of saying that we should be rational and there is no God? If there is no God, then the sentient beings that I talked about, they are suffering for no reason. There is no ultimate purpose. There is no grand plan, grand purpose. There is no being miraculously operating, right? So these sentient beings who are suffering here are suffering for no reason, absolutely no reason. This is meaningless, right? So all this freak show of this life, all this circus, this is meaningless. So the third implication is that you have to help these sentient beings who are suffering, because atheism means there is no God. Theists say that okay, let God save all these sentient beings, all these conscious beings who are suffering, but you can't say that. So when I was 10 years old, I got jaundice, and my grandparents, they took me to a miracle worker, which is like a faith healer, right? So they believed that this person will speak to God and help me, cure my jaundice, which is like a really deadly disease. So an atheist would have handled this situation better, right? So they would know the rational fact that the only thing that could help me is going to a hospital, right? So you know that you have to help. God will not help. You know that you have to help these sentient beings who are suffering. There is no miracle being waiting to work a grand purpose and help these beings who are suffering later. You know that. And the final implication is that you cannot worship an authority, right? So as soon as you give up the belief of God, the next thing you start worshipping is nature. You say that okay, these sentient beings suffering, it's natural, just let it happen, why do I care, right? So worshipping nature is also worshipping an authority. And this is even worse than theists. At least theists believe there is a person, okay, sitting there and we have to obey him like a king or something. But you guys are more irrational, saying giving importance to some meaningless set of laws. Just nature is just the set of laws by which this existence works. It's as simple as that. There is not even a person to obey. It's just a set of meaningless laws. It's as simple as that. So you are more irrational. Nature worship is more irrational than worshipping a god. there is nothing there. Right? Not even a fictional character to respect. You are saying you are respecting nature, right? Let's not interfere with nature. If suffering happens, it's a course of nature. Let it happen. There is nothing there. Why should I respect just a bunch of meaningless laws by which this existence works? So, if I am walking in a forest, if I see a starving deer and I have some fruits in my hand, I will give it to that deer. It's as simple as that. I won't be like, okay, let nature take its course. I will go happily, right? So that doesn't mean I interfered in nature and collapsed some grand plan. Again, you are also believing in some grand plan. So number one, from a rational worldview, only sentient beings matter. Only conscious living beings matter. Number two, if God doesn't exist, then there is no grand purpose. There is no God's plan. So all this suffering happening is pointless. These beings are experiencing something negative, something bad pointlessly. And number three, you have to be the one to help them. And number four, you shouldn't irrationally go to worshipping nature or respecting nature, because nature is just a bunch of laws. It doesn't have to be minded. It is not rational to mind nature. So you should be the one interfering in nature. You should realize that, okay, this existence is flawed. The nature of this existence is flawed. Either a lion kills a zebra, the zebra suffers and dies, or the lion starves and dies. So this existence is made in a way, is in a way that sentient beings have to suffer if they exist. So the only solution for these sentient beings, the only rational thing to do right now is causing non-existence, is giving non-existence to these sentient beings, causing the extinction of all sentient beings. So if you are a rational, ethical atheist, the next logical move is to fight for extinctionism, to fight for causing the extinction of all sentient beings. So this is the only way. So if you have further questions, you can watch the rest of my videos. I have mentioned those links in my description. So if you believe anything else other than sentient beings, conscious beings is important, you are irrational. If you believe that life has some grand purpose, then life has some meaning, then you are the same as theist. If you think that some miracle will happen, then you are the same as theist. If you believe instead of a god, if you worship nature, then you are the same as a theist. You are irrational and you are just using different words, but you are worshipping something, you are believing in miracles, and you are not a realist, you believe in magic. So even there are atheist morons like Richard Dawkins who say that life is beautiful. I don't want to talk much about this in this video, but the thing is, atheists are irrational. Modern atheists are irrational. A true atheist can only be an extinctionist, can only fight for extinction. Otherwise, he will be an unethical one.